Welcome back to Up Front. Let's get right to that new Marquette Law School poll. In the Wisconsin governor's race, incumbent Governor Tony Evers is holding a slight lead over Republican businessman Tim Michels among likely voters. And looking at the race for U.S. Senate, it really is a toss-up. Incumbent Senator Ron Johnson closing a gap from the August poll over his Democratic opponent, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Charles Franklin is the poll's director. He joins us now from Madison. Charles, thank you so much for being with us.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start right there with the Senate race. A big shift from just a month ago, specifically with independents. In August, Mandela Barnes had a 15-point lead. Now Ron Johnson has a 2-point lead. What do you make of this shift?
Yeah, I think this is the fact that Mandela Barnes got a good bump from the primary. And of course, he won the primary very easily with 3 of his opponents dropping out. The result was a lot of good feelings towards him in August, right after the primary, especially among Democrats. But now, welcome to the NFL. The general election negative ads are hitting. The tough campaign from now till November is hitting. And so it's not really surprising that things have tightened quite a bit. We also saw in August that 41% didn't know enough about Barnes to have an opinion of him. That left him vulnerable to the kind of advertising that's coming his way now.
So now 2 months away from Election Day, do you think that we will continue to see these shifts and turning of tide, if you will, with these results month to month?
Well, it's always dangerous to predict, but I would think that the initial onslaught of the general campaign has happened now. I think we'll probably, but not certainly, see relative stability going forward.
Something we're seeing not just in the Senate race, but the governor's race as well. So let's move to that race specifically. Let's talk about the issue of crime. It has been a key part of this race. You asked about it in this latest Marquette poll. And before I get your thoughts on the role that crime will play in this race, I want you to listen to both candidates, Tim Michels and Governor Tony Evers, with Matt on the campaign trail this past week.
Do you support increased shared revenue to communities, letting Milwaukee County raise the sales tax if voters say yes to pay for more public safety, more police?
Everywhere I go, I hear that crime is the #1 issue for people. If it's not #1, it's #1 or #2. And it is for me as well as governor. I believe that there is a lot of money in the state budget. There's $43.5 billion that are spent every year in the state budget. If we have to spend a little bit more money to make law enforcement more effective, to hire more police officers, absolutely we will do that.
They point to you, they say, for an increase in crime, and you are partially responsible for that. Your reaction to that, and what role does the governor have in terms of crime rates in cities like Milwaukee?
Well, certainly having the ability, the governor has the ability to provide revenue to municipalities. It's not decisions about, do I like to see crime or not, it's what we can do about it. And from the state level, it's providing resources. Republicans have in the past not shown that willingness to do that.
So as you mentioned, these candidates kind of speaking past each other on some key issues. Republicans really trying to paint Democrats as soft on crime, as anti-police. Democrats, meanwhile, kind of defending their records on crime. What did voters say when you asked about whether they feel safe? And is there a difference between Democrats, independents, and Republicans?
Yeah, there's some very striking differences. One question we ask is, going about your daily activities, do you generally feel pretty safe or do you worry about crime? And on that measure, about 75% of the public feels safe in their daily activities. Only a quarter worries. Now, that is the virtually identical, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent. But when we ask, how concerned are you about crime? There are bigger partisan differences, with more than 70% of Republicans saying they're very concerned. Just barely 50% of Democrats say they're very concerned. So that generalized concern does seem to be linked to partisanship, but our daily lives, there's just no partisan difference.
Yeah, you're pointing out that difference, that there is a difference between feeling safe and being concerned about safety. Very important to make that differentiation there. Based on those results, why do you think then crime is such a big campaign issue?
Well, it's a visceral issue. Also, there are regional differences. People who live in the city of Milwaukee are about 50% say they're worried about their safety, 50% say they feel safe. Then that goes up to higher numbers in the Milwaukee suburbs and in the rest of the state. So I do think we have to think about the real lives of people and how that differs by geography here, and that this is a very real issue.
Charles Franklin, the director of the Marquette Law School poll, will wait for your next poll results as we get closer and closer to the midterm elections. Thank you so much for being with us, Charles. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Still to come, Hispanic Heritage Month kicks off this weekend. The history just made in Wisconsin, plus the impact of the Latino vote.